So, okay, we're set. I think it's on. It is Wednesday the 9th of June, and we're here for General Yoga. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Love to be here.
So, sit comfortably, and at the studio now we're all like optional masks, so I'm not wearing a mask. So I don't have the microphone on, but nobody's been complaining. If you have some trouble hearing, if you're online and watching, let me know, okay? And I can speak up a little bit. So sit comfortably, whether you're in a chair. If you want to get blankets to sit on, by all means do. And if you don't feel comfortable cross-legged, you're fine to stretch your legs out if you need to. You sit however feels really good for your hips. And use support too if you want. So blocks underneath your legs here can help your hips release a little bit more if that helps you. Just close your eyes and let yourself lengthen up through the crown of your head. Feel your shoulders soften down. And just accept your breaths in and out through your nose. Feel the breath coming in and going out through your nose. If you can feel the breath coming in to expand your belly a little bit as you inhale, feel the belly blowing up, kind of like a balloon. And if you're comfortable to come towards those 3-part breaths, inhaling into your belly and then your ribs and then up higher into your chest if you can. And on your next exhale, let your hands come on out, fingertips lightly touching the floor if you're on the ground, or just arms a little bit away from you. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands right down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse the arms. Keep the hands together as you inhale them up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. Now let your chin come down towards your chest. Release your head forward. And you know, it's up to you how far you tilt your head forward. You can do just a little bit or draw the chin in more towards your chest. And then come on back up. Remember, I'm not mirroring, so when I say right, I'll go right. So tilt your head to the right ear towards your right shoulder. Remember, we do both sides, so if you get mixed up here, it doesn't matter. And if you want to float your left arm up a little bit higher and flex your hands, you might get a little more into the side of your neck. And then we'll come on up. We're going to go to the other side, left ear towards your left shoulder. And again, if you want to float your right arm up a little bit and flex your hand, you might find a little bit more through the side of the neck. And then we'll come back up with the head, down with the hand. Take a nice inhale here. And on the exhale, let's twist to your right. Bring yourself on around, right hand on around behind you, left hand can come onto your knee or to the midline, it doesn't matter. Just let yourself find that twist. Wake up the spine a little bit there. And inhale here. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around to the other side. So letting yourself release into the other direction. And again, find that length in the back of your neck, in the back of your throat. Good. One more inhale. And let your exhale bring you back around into center. And now see if you can let your shoulders lift up just a little bit. Try not to feel like you're tensing them, but just lift them a little bit and then slowly lower them back down. And then again, just gently lift your shoulders up a little bit. And then as you exhale, let them come back down. And then one more time, inhaling, lifting the shoulders a little. And on the exhale, letting them release back down. And if you're cross-legged on the floor, switch the cross of your legs. So you bring your other leg in front. You can stretch them out if you need to before you come to the other side. And then from here, just circle with your torso a little bit. So think about letting your exhales bring you forward a little bit, your inhales bring you back, so that you may have really small circles going there, or you might want to get bigger and bigger if it feels good. So just easily allow the breath to move you. Exhales bringing you forward and inhales bringing you back. Good. And we're going to switch to go to the other direction. So stop wherever you want and then let yourself come off in the other direction with these circles, moving with your breath. Good. And then the next time that you end up forward, let yourself stay forward. You know, it's up to you if you want to put your hands on the floor. If you're on the floor, you can to support you. Keep your back nice and long. You may just want to have your hands on your thighs, that's fine. And you can go as far forward as feels good. You know, waking up the back and the hips a little bit here. Try to let your head release if possible. And if you want to walk way out, you can walk way forward. Fold over your legs if that feels good to you, but just be mindful of your back. Let yourself release your face. Let your jaw go. And let your face feel really soft. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly make our way on back up. And let's bring our legs on out in front of us here and let your feet circle around a little bit here. So circling through the feet, let your release through your ankles a little bit. And you can go the same or opposite directions. It's different for everybody. Reverse your circles though, so you go both ways. Do that a couple of times so you feel pretty good about moving through. And then shake them out and let your feet come a little bit wider apart. Not really wide angle, just a little bit. And then come forward with your hands either like above your thighs or down below your knees onto your shins. But just wake up the backs of the legs a little bit here. So you're coming forward with a long back. You can reach your toes if you want to. You know, that depends on you, whether your back allows you to go that far. Just let yourself think of coming forward from your low back. Nice. Waking up the hamstrings, feeling your inner thighs and your outer thighs too. Good, and then we'll come on back up and let's bring our hands behind us now. And you can stay on fingertips if you want to. If you're in a chair, of course, you can just drape yourself over the back of the chair. You can come flat to your hands too if that feels good. Think of your chest drawing a little bit forward, but be easy about your neck, right? So if looking up really bothers you, it feels like you're tensing your neck to do that, don't do it. Keep your gaze more forward. Just let yourself feel open across your chest. And then we'll come on back, sitting up tall, and bring your chin down a little bit towards your chest again here. Now think of feeling your heels on the floor and draw them back towards you a little bit so that you engage your legs a bit there. And then we'll come on back all the way up with our heads and bring our legs together, kind of shake everything out a little bit. We're going to come towards our hands and knees. And you know, if you don't want to be on your hands and knees, don't be. You can use a blanket underneath your knees. I'm going to put my chair in front. Those of you who are on chairs and don't want to be on your knees at all down on the floor, you know, you can have your hands in your seat of your chair like this, so you have your back long. And if your wrists bother you, adjust what you do with your hands. You know, you can come to fists. If you feel like you want to come all the way down to your forearms to do your cat-cows, you can, right? You can still move through your spine like this, whether you have your hands, you're on your hands or your forearms. So take your time and just start to easily move through your cat-cows. So remember, you want to keep breathing, number one. Now, Whether you exhale when you draw into that cat pose with your tailbone dropping down and you're rounding up into your spine, and inhale when you come into your cow, where you send your tailbone back and up, that's up to you. And if you end up breathing the opposite, it is fine. You just want to feel that nice flexibility through the spine. Enjoy finding that ease of moving too. And if you find some place where you're like, oh my gosh, I need to kind of stay here, if you need to stay in your cat or cow for a breath, or you need to kind of come into neutral and stay, just ease your way through. Let it feel really natural. And finish off the one you're on. Come back to now your spine being more neutral as you look down between your hands, and then just look over your right shoulder. Think about your right shoulder coming towards your right hip a little bit. You'll come into a little side stretch for the left side of the body. And then come back through center and look over your left shoulder. And again, kind of draw the left shoulder a little back towards the left hip, more into the right side stretch. Good. And then come on back into neutral center again. And we're going to step our left foot forward and our right foot back to come into our first lunge here. So as you come up with that back knee, you decide how high you want your hands to be. You can have your hands up on chair seat. You can have your hands on blocks any height. Remember, you want the blocks right underneath your shoulders on your mat there. So you can have a little weight in them. And you can let yourself feel that openness now through the back of that right leg. Enjoy. Let your shoulders draw down away from your ears. If your hands bother you, switch how you're having them. You know, you can go to fist, you can come up to your tips of your fingers, or you can go flat down on your hands. We're going to switch our legs out. So however you want to come to the right leg forward, take your time there. And again, find that nice length in the back of that long leg. Be mindful of your front knee. You don't want to bend that knee way forward out beyond your toes. Let the knee be stacked up kind of over your ankle, or even back behind your ankle is fine. Good. Shoulders down, lengthen through the body here. We're going to switch legs again. Now once you come into the lunge this time, remember you want to feel like you're on very narrow railroad tracks. And if it feels good to bring your left forearm or your left hand up to your left thigh, you can, so that you have even less weight into that right hand there. You can do both. If you want to do both, you can bring both hands up. That's up to you. And then we're going to bring our hands down if they're up so we can switch legs again. So again, as you find this lunge here, it is up to you whether you want to think of lifting up to bring your right hand or forearm to your thigh, or both hands up if you want, right? That's up to you. Just be mindful. Reach into that inner heel back there. Good. And now we'll step forward and come on into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. And you know you are more than welcome. If your back bothers you, use support. You can bend your knees and put your elbows above your knees to keep your back nice and long. You can use the chair in front of you, either with a block on it, you know, so that you're up higher, so that you're able to find release without being in your hands there. Or you can bring your hands down. So you can bring them to the blocks, or let yourself release your hands just to hang towards the ground, or even hold your own elbows, right? If you want a little more traction, that is really up to you and your back. Easy breaths. Remember, knees can be bent in your forward bend, feeling your sitting bones over your heels. And then feel those full breaths coming in to expand your ribs in all directions, and letting yourself just enjoy feeling the weight of your head. Torso coming forward, releasing the backs of your legs. Good. And then we'll let our hands come on up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise on up to standing, and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So coming into your mountain pose, walk a little bit in place if you need to, adjust anything you need, get your feet hips distance apart and parallel there. And then once you feel pretty grounded equally through your feet, let your hands come to meet there. And now, where your hands come in your mountain pose, up to you. You know, the thumbs kind of, in fact, let your hands come a little bit away from your chest and spread your fingers out a little bit. And then without thinking, just as you exhale, let the hands come back in, thumbs towards your chest, wherever they want to go, where it feels very natural. You can bring your gaze on forward and out, whether your eyes are opened or closed, as though you're looking at the horizon. And now feel that sense really of being equal through your feet. Find your tailbone dropping down like it's reaching towards between your heels, or like the back of your heels. So you don't want to tuck your tailbone up under you. And then once you get your pelvis aligned, it's so easy. The hips want to come over your ankles, and the shoulders want to come over your hips. And think about your ears being over your shoulders so that you're not jutting your chin forward or tucking it back, right? It's easy. Head is light up there, floating on top. And then we'll release our arms back down beside us now. We'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bend your knees as you come forward into that standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you find a nice flat, long back. Your hands can go to your shins, to your thighs, to your blocks or your chair. And we're going to step the right foot back to find lunge here, coming into our first sun salutation. So draw your shoulders down, let yourself enjoy finding that lunge again. Now see if you can imagine you're trying to make your mat a little bit longer with your feet, pressing them away from each other. Engage your belly. And we're going to find a downward facing dog pose. Now, how you like your hands to be, totally up to you. If your hands are on the blocks, you can walk your way back into finding that sense of length through the spine. And of course, you can use a chair so that you're up higher, if that's better for your shoulders, or you can have your hands on the floor. Let your elbows hug gently towards each other. If you want to walk in your dog, go ahead and bend a knee at a time if that feels good. We're going to come on out from here towards a plank. Now, you don't have to do a full plank. And if you're needing to come down to your forearms, do it. Or maybe you want to put your knees down and do a half plank, right? So be where you can be, where you're comfortable to be. If you like push-ups, you can bend your elbows and let them come in towards your ribs and do some push-ups there. And then we'll come on back into that down dog. So if you need to adjust your feet from plank to dog or back again, then do. And we'll bring our right foot forward to come into lunge here. And you know you can put your left knee down or both knees down if you need to come back to that lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. And again, you decide, do you need support? Use it. If you can let your head hang, do, unless it bothers your back. And if you can, let your head turn a little bit from side to side, do, just to really release your neck. And then come back into center. Feel the weight of the head. Watch your breaths now, coming in and going out. So really feeling your ribs expand as you inhale. Maybe just imagine the top of the head gets closer to the ground when you exhale. It doesn't really have to happen. You can just think about it happening. One more nice full deep breath here. And then as we bend our knees and press into our feet, we're going to rise up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands right down together in front of our chest. Find your mountain pose for a breath. Feel equal through your feet. And on your next inhale, let your hands come up through the midline, keeping them together. And on the exhale, open them like wings as you bend your knees and come forward into standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you find that long, flat back. Remember, hands can be wherever you need. Think about your back being like a tabletop. And we'll step our left foot back to come into lunge. So again, press those feet gently away from each other like you're trying to make your mat longer. Feel your belly, what it does when you do that. Engage you. And we're going to make our way into a downward facing dog pose again. So again, your choice where your hands are. Blocks, chair, floor. Reaching back and letting yourself move if you need to. Walk if you need to, right? Take your time. And on the next inhale, we'll come on again towards that plank. Again, whether it's a half plank or a full plank, finding that core strength. Feel your sitting bones reaching downward towards your heels. And you can bend your elbows if you like and let yourself do little push-ups. Totally up to you. And then we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. And again, just really feel as equal as you can through the sides of your body. Elbows are hugging towards each other so you feel okay in your shoulders. And we will bring our left foot forward this time to find lunge. Draw your shoulders down again. Find that length down the back body. And then we'll step forward to come into standing forward bend. Take your time, get your feet really set there, and then just right away, once you get comfortable in your forward bend, come to watching the breaths. And now, see if you can just find those little spaces between your breaths. So you inhale, you feel a little pause before you exhale. And when you exhale, at the end of that exhale, feel that little slight pause before you inhale. And from here, let's bring our hands to our hips, bend our knees, rise on up to standing, and we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Now let's unfold our arms. Let's bring our hands behind us and interlace our fingers and clasp our hands here now. And then send your hands over to the right. See if you can fold your left forearm onto your low back. And then just squeeze your right palm into your left palm, if that's okay for your shoulder. Don't do it if it hurts your shoulder. Keep your gaze forward. And now see if you can let your right hand come on down and inhale the right arm all the way out and up overhead. And you're going to bend that right elbow and put the right hand down wherever you want. The top of your head, the back of your head, down to your upper back if you want to. And you can even think of sending your left hand towards your right hand if you want. Not necessary, only if it feels good in your shoulders. Let yourself just open the shoulders however you can there and keep your gaze forward. And then bring your arms on down. Bring your hands back to clasp in the middle again. Let them hang for a second. And then send your hands to the left. See if you can fold your right forearm onto your low back. And then squeeze your left palm into your right. Right? If that bothers your shoulder, again, don't do it. If any of it bothers shoulders, don't do it. And now let your left arm come down long. And we're going to inhale the left arm all the way out and up overhead. And you can bend the elbow. And again, you have to adjust whatever your shoulder lets you do. And if you want to think of sending your hands towards each other on your back, you can. If not, don't do it, right? You're just opening up the shoulders in a nice way, finding your tricep, obviously. Keep your gaze on forward so that you're not rounding into your upper back, right? Let your tailbone reach towards between your heels there. We're going to bring both arms back down again, right beside us, and we're going to inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, we're going to come on forward into our standing forward bend again. On your next inhale, find a nice flat back. Find that tabletop back. And we're going to step into down dog from here. So hands can go whatever surface you like. You can walk your way back into your dog. And on your next inhale, come on out towards a plank again. Now, if you want to do a back bend, you can, but it is totally not necessary. You can come to the floor and do a sphinx on your forearms or a cobra, or come through for an up dog. And then we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose again. Walk a little bit, turn your head side to side a little bit. If you want to wag your tail, wag your tail. And we're going to do that same thing. We're going to come on out towards that plank. And again, it is totally optional to add a back bend here. You can stay in your plank, move however you want. You can come towards a sphinx or a cobra or an up dog. And then we'll come on back again into downward facing dog pose. This time let's bring our right foot forward to find lunge. And again, whatever you need to do to get into that lunge, reach back directly behind your left foot with your heel there. And then we'll come back into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. A couple of nice full deep breaths now, feeling that movement through the rib cage on your breaths. Good. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips, bend our knees, press into our feet and rise up to standing. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down to come in front of our chest. So let yourself, again, find that real easy place for your hands to be in mountain. If you need to sway around a little bit to get situated in mountain, you know, sometimes I even like to sway in a circle, all right, so that I feel like, wow, I can even myself out by circling smaller and smaller and coming right into the center. And then just enjoy woken up the body here now with our sun salutations, every part of the body really. And then we'll release our arms right on down beside us. And shake out if you need to move through your feet, anything you need, your hands. I'm going to turn my chair around. So if you have a chair, you might want to turn it around. Have both your blocks handy here. And we're going to step our right foot back. We're coming into Warrior Two. So that right foot is going to be about parallel to the back edge of our mat. The left foot is about parallel to that long edge. And we're going to bend our left knee just enough so we can still see our toes down there, right? You don't want to send it out beyond your toes. And then bring your hands to meet in front of your chest again. Let yourself feel your hands there together. Feel each finger or your thumbs. Good. And then let's inhale the hands right up through the midline. And then open the arms like wings. Turn the palms down as you turn your head to look out over the top of your left hand, your Warrior Two arms. And imagine you're softening your shoulders. Soften the tops of your shoulders. Feel like you're holding up your arms from underneath so that you're not tensing in the tops of your shoulders. Easier said than done. Let's put our right hand down on our right hip, straighten our left leg out, and bring our left hand down for triangle. Now it can go on your thigh, it can go on your chair back. You can bring it down lower towards your shin, or if you want to use a block, you know, you can put your hand down on a block in front of or behind your leg. And then if you want to add that right arm to stretch straight up from your shoulder, do. If that bothers your shoulder, don't do it. Keep your hand down on your head. And you're lengthening your torso out over that front leg. Good. Thighs engage up towards the hips, so it's like you're creating space in your knees. We're going to bend the left knee and come on back into Warrior Two. So press the feet away from each other. It makes you feel your core body, your belly, your low back, your hips. We're going to let our hands come down, and we're going to turn to find a lunge. So bringing your hands down to your blocks or to the chair if you want. Release that right heel directly behind your foot now. And we're going to add a twist. Left hand is going to come to the left hip, and we're going to roll that left shoulder up, finding our twist here. Either keep your hand down, that's fine, or stretch the arm up if you choose to. So just be comfortable. Let yourself enjoy finding that twist in the middle of your back, lengthening out through the top of your head. And we're going to bring the left hand on back down, and we're going to step forward, get our feet right underneath us, bend both your knees quite a bit. Let yourself shift the weight a little more to your heels, so you feel a release in your hips there. And then just press into your feet, bring your hands to your hips. We'll rise up to standing and inhale the arms out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Enjoy your mountain pose for a breath. Spread your fingers nice and wide. And then we'll lower our arms on down, shake out a little bit. We're going to go the other side. So walk around if you need to. You know that, between sides. This time we'll step our left foot back. So letting yourself bring your left foot back and come into getting that foot about parallel to the back edge of your mat. Right foot about parallel to the long edge. And then again, look down. Make sure you bent that knee no farther forward so you can still see your toes. And then just center yourself with your hands to your chest. Spread your fingers out. Feel the connection there of your hands and your feet in the floor. So you feel very balanced in Warrior Two, right? Even though you're not symmetrical at all, you're still very balanced. Very strong pose. As we inhale the hands right up through the midline, we're going to then open the arms like wings, turn the palms down as the hands start to come straight out from your shoulders. Now don't forget about that left hand back there. Really reach back through the fingertips as you're reaching forward through the right ones, but then soften the shoulders down. And enjoy feeling your whole body in the pose. It's like you're reaching out to the extremities, right? And then let your left hand come onto your hip. We're going to straighten our right knee out, and we're going to bring the right hand down for triangle. So again, it's not about how low you go. You can let your hand be up on your thigh. Again, you can use a block or two blocks if you want to be higher. You can stack your blocks up and let your hand rest on blocks. Left arm straight up from the shoulder is totally optional. Thighs are engaging up towards the hips. So you're really feeling your legs here, and you're really thinking that you have space in your knees, right? Because you're lifting upward with your thighs. Good. Now we're going to bend that right knee, and we're going to come on back into Warrior Two. So press the feet away from each other. It gets us right back up into that Warrior Two strength. Good. And then we'll let our hands come down, and we're going to find that lunge, remember. So bringing your hands down to whatever surface you like to use, whatever height you want to be. And then when you're ready, bringing your right hand to your right hip and drawing into that twist. Make sure you're not dropping into that left long side. Try to stay as level as you can when your hand is there on your sacrum. And of course, you can stretch the right arm up if you want to, or you can keep your hand down. Reach back through that inner left heel and forward and out through the top of your head. It's like your body's fully extended. And then we'll bring that right hand on back down, and we're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us again. And bend your knees. And again, let your weight shift a little more to your heels, just a little bit, just so it feels good. Good. And then from there, we'll bring our hands up to our hips and press into our feet. Rise on up. We're going to inhale our arms out and up. Now leave your left arm up and lower your right arm down beside you. And we're going to come over into side stretch. So let the right hand slide down the outside of your right leg a little bit. Now some of you might even want to shift your hips a little more to the left. Don't do that if it bothers your knees. If it feels uncomfortable, stay more centered over your feet, right? And then we're going to rise back up, and we're going to switch arms. So the right arm will come up as the left arm comes down. And then again, slide that left hand down a little bit, down the outside of your left leg as you come into that side stretch. Now the shifting a little bit of the hips, totally up to you. Opening through the ribs. Beautiful. Then we'll come on back up to the top. Let's bring both arms overhead. Wide V, right? Let your palms face each other, and then spread your fingers really wide. And then imagine your pinkies turning inward even more. And feel what that does to your shoulders. Feel what happens underneath your arms, kind of in your armpits. So one more breath here, feeling really wide and open. And then we'll lower our arms on down beside us and kind of swing your arms around a little bit. Move through your feet if you need to. And we're going to come into Warrior One this time. So we're going to step our right foot back. And we're going to come into that front-facing warrior where we're facing the front edge of our mat. this back foot is turned out maybe 20, 30 degrees. You can step as far back as you want, but you want your heel fully on the floor. And then just bring yourself on around, bring your arms forward, and again, let the palms face each other, right? Let yourself feel your shoulders very squared off. And then rise your arms up higher. Now you can go back to that wide V we just did, right? Or you can bring your hands more over your shoulders if your shoulders let you do that. So the front knee is bent, the back leg is straight. Your tailbone is kind of reaching back on a diagonal line. So you're not trying to tuck your tailbone up under you in Warrior One. You can look up if you choose. You can feel almost like you have something at the base of your shoulder blades that you want to lift up and over a little bit. So you're not compressing your low back. One more breath here. And now bring your gaze on forward, and we're going to circle the arms back behind us, and then let them come on down, and then rise them back up to be in front again. Good. And then let your arms release down beside you. We're going to turn sideways on our mat with our feet about, a little bit wider or a lot wider than your shoulders. Don't go forward yet, because we're going to do a nice 5-pointed star. Bringing our arms straight out, spreading our fingers. Let your palms face down, and let yourself release your shoulders down. 5-pointed star. Now the tendency here is to almost want to tuck your tailbone forward up under you, but that really messes up your whole alignment. So instead, think you're reaching your tailbone back and down like it's going between your heels if you were standing in mountain pose, right? So it's the same alignment of your pelvis as in mountain pose. And then we're going to bring our hands down, and we're going to bend our knees and come forward. And you can grab a block or two if you want, or you can have your hands to the floor in your wide-legged forward bend, and go ahead and bend one knee at a time if your knees let you do that. If that bothers your knees, don't do it. Just easily move a little bit. Good. And then when you're ready to come back into center, your knees can either be both bent equally or straight. That's up to you. And you use whatever support you need to stay in the pose for a few breaths. So if you feel like you want to stack your blocks up, if you want to be up higher, you can even have a chair in front of you. Let yourself have your forearms on a chair to get out of your hands. Or you can fold all the way to let your head hang down and bring your hands back more towards between your feet. Another way to support is putting your elbows above your knees so that your knees are bent and you support your low back long with your elbows above your knees. So be where you can and let yourself just enjoy feeling the breaths, full and deep breaths. And really kind of imagine inhales and exhales are equally important, which think about it, they really are. You can't have one without the other. So think of as they feel equally important that they want to become a little more even in length, right? Your inhales and your exhales. But let it be easy so you don't feel like you're forcing anything. You're just letting the breaths easily and deeply come in and go out. Let your face soften. Good. So one more breath. And now to rise up, you want to be really mindful. If you need to bring your feet together first, by all means do. And use your hands if you need on your thighs. And once you get up, if you need to walk around a little bit, kind of move through your feet, do it, right? And we're going to come to the other side. So this time you step towards the front of your mat. And then again, you want your blocks handy. We'll step our left foot back and let ourselves come into that front-facing warrior. So your shoulders are square to the front of your mat. Take a peek at that right knee. Make sure it's not bending out beyond your toes. Bring your arms on forward. Let your palms face each other. And then continue to let the arms rise up. If you need to be really wide, let the arms be wide. If you feel pretty good to have your hands above your shoulders, But just make sure you're not feeling your shoulders creep up by your ears, right? You want to feel that sense of space between your ears and your shoulders. Keeping your arms forward is fine, right? Think about energy up through your fingertips. Feel that strength in your warrior one and balance, but also the openness in the front of your left hip. So one more inhale up the front of the body. Exhale down the back of your body. And then lower your arms on back down. And we're going to turn again sideways on our mat. Let our feet come wide. You know, if your hips bother you and you need to turn your toes out a little bit, do. But bring your arms straight out again from your shoulders, a little bit higher for a 5-pointed star. So feel like a star for a second. Feel that top of the head is 1 point, your fingertips and your feet are those other 4 points, and you can feel nice and wide, really open. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to bend our knees as we come forward and grab what you need for under your hands. So if you need your blocks, get them there. But see if you can, let yourself extend into a nice long back. Right? And that might mean you're up on blocks and you're letting yourself come into a nice flat back that way, or you may decide you want to stay lower. But from there, you can keep your knees bent or straight, bring your right hand to your right hip and onto your low back if you can, and roll your right shoulder up a little bit. You're finding a twist there in the middle of your back. And then come on back down with that right hand, and we'll go left hand up. And again, just roll that left shoulder up, but try to stay level in your hips and even in your legs. And then come on back down with the hand. And now walk a little bit or shift your blocks a little to the right. That's up to you. You can walk all the way over towards your right foot if you want to. And then we'll shift back through center or walk back through center and go a little bit to the left. Good. And then we'll come on back into center again. And take your time. If you need to wiggle around a little bit or change the width of your stance, do it. Set yourself up to stay here to be with your breath again. And again, some of you may really want to fold and bring your hands towards between your feet or hold your ankles, right? That is really not so good for everybody's backs. So be mindful and just breathe. Nice full breaths. Feel your ribs expanding as you inhale. And feel how they kind of come back in, that kind of accordion-like feeling as you exhale. Good. One more breath. And now to rise up, be mindful and let yourself come up however you need. If you need to bring feet together first, do it. If you like to come up and then do it, and let yourself shake out a little bit. Good. And we are going to let ourselves bring our mats now into a wall. All right? So you two are fine. You two, yeah, you can be there. And you can be over here. And we're not going to do much standing, so I think you'll be either okay if you want to get by your mom, or maybe you can stay right there. It's up to you. We're not really going to do that much at the wall, but we're going to stay up standing. Either one you want to do. And we're going to turn with let's put our right hand towards the wall. Take your time. And then, now this is a hip opener, but it's also going to work in towards a balance. If you want to cross your left ankle in front of your, left ankle in front of your right ankle, you can. Or you can cross your ankle above your knee and bend your knee a little bit. Right? So if you've got the ankle above the knee, you're in that figure 4. See if you can just bend that right knee and shift your hips back a bit. And man, oh man, that right there is huge. It's really a big hip opener. If you feel like, oh my gosh, I want to go even lower, you can. You can let your body come lower. Some of you may even want to reach down to the floor. Good luck with that. You can have blocks under your hands too if you want. If that feels good in your hips, you can let that open your hips. Or you can hold hands at your heart and balance right here if you want to. So that's up to you too. One more breath. Now come on up. Send your left foot behind you. Keep the left knee bent. Come into a quad stretch, right? And you don't have to reach back and get hold of your left foot, but you can if you want to. You'll feel the quad even just by bending your knee. Now if you want to hold the foot, you can push the foot into your hand a little bit. Let the knee face directly down. Maybe you can rise the right arm up overhead and balance. Or even if you don't balance, you can bring the hand up higher and let yourself imagine that you're letting go of the wall. Push the foot into the hand if you have it. And then we're going to release. We're going to come down and we're going to turn around. Go to the other side. So right ankle crosses above or below that left knee, right? Onto the ankle if you'd rather. See if you can sit back like you're sitting in a chair a little bit. It doesn't have to be a low chair. Keep flexing that right foot. Really flex the foot. And then again, you can decide, do you want to think about bringing your hands off the wall, balancing a little bit? Do you want to go lower, 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 lower? Put your hands down lower to blocks or the floor. Depends on your hips. It depends on how you're belting your hips, right? And if you like that balance, you can try. And then when you're ready, hand back to the wall, uncross, send that right knee down, bend the knee. You've got a quad stretch going, whether you reach back to get a hold of the top of your right foot or not. You can press your foot into your hand, and man, oh man, that's a great engagement right there. And if you want your left hand to come up the wall, you can let go of the wall and balance there if you choose. Keep the foot pressing in, and that's what really engages you. Pushing your foot into your hand engages your belly and your low back and your hips, right? And then we're going to release, and we're going to come on down. Good. We're going to come down to the floor and sit. So if you know, and let yourself sit up on a blanket if that's better for you, right? So if stretching your legs out in front of you feels really uncomfortable for your hips, put a blanket underneath you so you feel good. Move through your feet and your ankles a little bit. And then, have your blocks handy, okay? And let's bring our left foot in to the inside of the right leg somewhere. Now, you know, it doesn't have to be up high. Everybody's hips are different, so you might want to put it low. And if your knee or your hip is feeling weird, put a block underneath it, right? So if you're feeling like you're tensing up in your hip, or if your knee feels kind of wonky, put a block underneath it. And then from here, think about letting yourself come a little bit forward. So here you are, nice long back, and you're thinking almost of coming forward from your low back, and you're going to feel the back of this long leg, obviously. So ease your way forward. If you feel like, wow, I can only, imagine coming forward a half an inch, that's fine. So we're trying not to come forward like this, from our shoulders, rounding into the back like this. Instead, you're trying to come forward with that length. And your hands can go wherever you want. If you want to put them on your shin, maybe if you want to think about reaching towards your toes, that's up to you. You can have your hands on the floor if that's better. Good. So just be with your breath. Sometimes, if you think about inhaling into the length of your spine and exhaling, coming a little farther forward, sometimes that's helpful. So letting your breath help you with that forward bend, with that release. Good. So one more breath here. And then slowly let yourself rise on up. Bring that left knee up. And now cross the foot over to the outside of that right long leg somewhere. It can be lower, it can be higher. Let yourself sit up nice and tall here. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to bring our left hand around behind us and twist. So yes, go that way. Let yourself, if you want, put your right hand on your left knee, or if you want to, if the knee is up really close to you, you can hook the crook of your elbow around the knee. And be mindful. Let it feel really, that twist in the middle of the back. Look wherever you want. If you want to look farther back behind yourself, go for it. If it stresses your neck, then don't do that. Just look more towards the side of the room. Good. So one more breath here. And now use your belly to bring yourself back around. And we are just going to stretch that left leg out. And we're going to bring ourselves into the right foot coming in. Now again, how high or low you put the foot onto the inside of that left leg. Totally up to you, up to your knee, up to your hip, you know, and you may be fine just to let it hang. But really, if the knee's stressed at all, just be mindful as you come forward. And you know, if it helps you, I should have said it on the other side, if it helps you to move a little bit, to like inhale and then exhale, just coming a little bit forward, and then move back up when you inhale. Sometimes for me, that gets me into this pose in a much gentler and easier way, but that's up to you. If it's better for you just to come forward, stay there, give your back of your leg a little bit more time to open up, putting your hands wherever you want. See if you can release and let the back of your neck be easy. So, you know, make sure you're not lifting your chin up, which, you know, you can hear the change in voice, right? So if you can let the back of your head be more in line with your spine, too. Being conscious of your breath, following the breath all the way in and all the way out. Good. And then we'll slowly come on back up. And once you get up there, bring that right knee up and the right foot over again towards the outside. Now it can be above or below your knee. But see if you can sit up nice and tall on your inhale. And as you exhale, bring your right hand around. So again, left hand can be on the knee. If your foot is up here and your leg's right close to your chest, you might want to bring yourself into wrapping your elbow around the knee. Or you can go all the way to your arm to the outside if you've got that twist in your body, right? So just enjoy, lengthen up through the top of your head. Feel that sense of space in your spine. Again, be mindful about where you look. You know, you may want to look more to the side of you. You may want to look more behind. But let it be easy, not stressful. Good. One more breath here. Now use your belly to bring yourself on back around in the center and stretch your legs on out there. Kind of shake them out a little bit. Do little windshield wiper blades with your feet. They can go the same way or they can go opposite, right? And we're going to come down onto our backs on the floor. So let yourself have your blocks handy. And as you come on down onto your back, just be easy. Bring your knees on up so your feet are on the floor. And then once you're kind of comfortable in laying down, bring your right knee in towards your chest. You can hold your shin, you can hold behind your thigh, and extend your left leg down long on the floor. So you're coming in to easily feeling the right leg pressing into your hands. Keep both your feet flexed a little bit so you've got active legs there. And enjoy. You're finding that natural curve in your low back. See if you can let your head roll a little bit side to side, almost like you're massaging the back of your head. And then let your head slowly come back to look, so you're looking at the ceiling, and we're going to bring our left knee in and extend our right leg down along on the floor. Now again, flex through both the feet. You can hold your shin, you can hold behind your thigh. Feel the left leg gently pressing into your hands. Gently, just so that you find that natural curve in your low back. And then see again if you want to massage the back of your head a little bit, you know, and you may want to just barely roll side to side, or you might want to go pretty far, you know. Let your chin come down towards your shoulder a little bit. It's pretty amazing how that can feel, even into the middle of your back, right? And then when you're ready to let your gaze go back up towards the ceiling, do. And let's bring both knees in towards the chest. Let your right hand be on your right knee, your left hand on your left knee. And when you inhale, let the knees come away so far that your arms are straight. And then when you exhale, draw the knees back in towards you so the low back comes back to the floor. So when you inhale, the knees come away and arms go straight. And when you exhale, you just draw the knees back in. So do a couple more of those. Just let yourself feel that release in the back. And then the next time that you let your legs come away, go ahead and lower your feet to the floor. Bring your arms down alongside you. Set up for a little bridge pose. So your feet, remember, are a little bit wider than they are in mountain, but they're still parallel. How close your heels are in towards your buttocks, man, that's really totally up to you. And then bend your elbows to 90 degrees. Let your palms face each other, those robot arms, and press into the backs of your upper arms here. Roll your shoulders under. And see if you can keep pressing into your arms. Float up into a little bridge pose. It doesn't have to be high. You know, you can get an inch off the floor and you're engaging your back there, right? Or you can keep floating up higher and higher. Roll your shoulders under you more. You can stretch your arms back down long if that's better for you, obviously. You can keep the elbows bent. You know, some of you may even want to clasp your hands underneath you in bridge pose. Remember, bridge pose, you feel your thighs. You're trying not to overly grip with your buttocks, but you're obviously using it, right? But you don't want to get a sense of anything in your back feeling uncomfortable. If that's the case, come down, readjust where your feet are, try going back up. Or if you need to rest on a block, grab a block and rest on a block any height you want to be so that you totally relax your back. And that's really a supported bridge is an amazing pose. So if it feels better to you to come into that support, do it. If it feels better to you to move up and down out of bridge pose, then move up and down, right? Let your body find its ease there. Good, nice. Good alignment of the feet in here. So one more breath, whatever you're doing here in your bridge, so that when you come down, it feels pretty good. You can come on down and you can bring your knees into your chest and let them come a little bit side to side. You can let your knees widen out too if that's helpful for you. And then go ahead and bring your feet back to the floor. Let's cross our right thigh over our left, okay? And now lift your hips up a little bit, shift them to the right 2 or 3 inches and put them back down. And you're going to let your knees come over to the left for a little twist. Now, your right foot can hit the floor really quickly to hold you up, right? To hold your knees up. If you don't want to go farther over towards the ground with your knees, don't do it. And if you want to let your gaze turn to the right and lift your right arm up higher, if that feels good through the right side of the body, you can do that, right? Just be mindful. Again, if you'd rather grab a block, you can put a block underneath your legs to hold them up higher too. So that might, help you release more than if you're up on your foot. So just breathe. You'll hopefully feel this up into your glutes. And you don't want it to feel uncomfortable, so really be mindful. And then come on back up to the top and uncross your legs as you come, because you'll be really cockeyed. Straighten your spine out. And then bring your left thigh on top of your right. So you're just thigh over thigh. Lift your hips, shift them to the left a couple or 3 inches and put them down. And your knees are going to come over to the right. And again, if you like to turn to look over left, away from the direction your knees are going, you can. And you can even, you don't, if you're close to the wall, you don't have to have a straight arm. You can just lift the elbow up higher of that left arm. And just enjoy and breathe. Support if you need. Enjoy accepting those breaths, feeling that left shoulder release down. One more breath. And then slowly as you come up, go ahead and uncross. Straighten your spine out, because you will still be that little cockeyed. And then bring your knees in. If you want to do a little happy baby, go for it. Feels good to you to send your feet up, or maybe it feels better for you to bring the soles of your feet together and open your knees wide for a little Baddha Konasana. Or happy baby, or whatever actually your body wants to go to and do. And it may not be either one of these. You may decide there's something else. You might want to stretch your legs in the air, do a little cross-country ski motion, just play a little bit. Let it feel really good to just allow the body to move in whatever way it might need to before we come into Shavasana. Give me some time. I'm going to walk around and start to get all the lights. And then I will start to bring support for blankets. If you want blankets for anything, bolsters. If you want a bolster for underneath your knee. Now, if you're at home, remember, if you're uncomfortable, give yourself support however you need. To move around, wave at me. So, use a blanket if you need for a pillow. You want a blanket for a pillow? Yes, please. So remember, you want to get easy in your neck. So, still moving around, give me time. I know some people will want a bolster. I haven't brought you one, and you think you're going to want one, wave at me. And then just let yourself start to enjoy feeling the ground underneath you. Feeling your arms and your legs. And letting yourself find a comfortable place for them to be, right? There's no right or wrong way to be in Shavasana, and if you get really uncomfortable, there's no point in fighting yourself, if you find after a minute or two that you're really uncomfortable. It's fine to roll to your side. It's fine to let yourself be however you need to be. Because this few minutes of quiet here is what allows your body to benefit from all you just did. All you need to do is get out of your own way, really, by being with your breath, watching your breath, coming in and going out. And when you realize you're off into thinking, which you will be, that's what our brains do, just come back again to your breath. If counting your breaths helps, do that. If thinking a word when you inhale, a different word when you exhale, if that helps, do that. But just give yourself the gift of these few minutes and allow yourself to completely and fully relax. receive your breaths in a little deeper, a little longer. Imagine those deeper breaths bringing you back into really feeling physical there again and wanting to move. And let your fingers and your toes, when you're ready, if you can, lead you into moving. You can wiggle your fingers, your toes, move through your hands, your feet, and let your arms and legs do what they need when you're ready to move. You can stretch if you need to stretch. You can draw your knees in if that's more comfortable for you to release your back. Just, be mindful. You're welcome to stay on your back. You are welcome to roll to either your right or your left side if you're comfortable to do that. You can let your knees be soft and be in a fetal position on your side for a bit, just to give your body and your brain a little bit longer to adjust. Of course, when you are ready to make your way up to sitting, just let your eyes stay closed if you can, or you can let your eyes close again once you get up if you need to open them as you start to head up to sitting. But get comfortable in the way you're sitting once you do start to be upright again. You may want to stretch your legs out. You may want to cross your legs. You may want to sit on a blanket. Once you are seated, though, and your eyes are gently closed, just let yourself lengthen up. Feel your head like it's floating up there on top of your spine. Just come back to watching your breath coming in and going out through your nose. And on your next exhale, let your hands come to meet there in front of your chest, in front of your own heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.